Hello, everyone. I apologize for being late, but again, my internet did not want to connect, so it took me about 20 minutes to get it to connect. So that is why I'm late. So I apologize. But I want to thank you all for being here and waiting. So we're going to be doing a reading tonight on Tammy Daybell and then Alex Cox, which was Lori's brother, I believe. Everyone in the room again. I said y'all come in if y'all give it a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. That way we can get some more information if people are interested in this case, because again, I do not know very much about it. I didn't look it up until the kids were actually missing and she was already married to Chad in Hawaii. So again, I know a lot of y'all do know the detail, but just in case there's anything else that somebody would like to add in a constructive, positive way, we're more than happy to add that. So again, I want to welcome everybody. And I thank you all the mods for being here to help run the room. I greatly appreciate that. And everybody else just joining us for the chat. So we're going to start with Chad and Tammy first. And I'm actually going to do a couple things a little bit, not different, but a little. Because of the situation. And because they were all like in this cult crap, right? So these are Florida waters. One's in hexing and a spell breaking, and another one's an envy. So it was basically what they all were. I mean, they all were envious of this lifestyle that they wish they had. Especially Lori, mainly being the main one. Hi, Tammy. How are you? So I'm going to outline the board real quick with the water. Just to put the energy down on the board, and then we'll wipe it across. Yeah, I don't know. This is a malachite ring, so I know a lot about malachite, and I really think it would be a lot of malachite you would need to use, and it would probably be flavored somewhat, and then it would probably be sandy. Again, I don't know, though, because I've never ground up malachite and given it to anybody. But malachite is a stone. All stones hold one of them that I have. Actually, I forget which one it is. I think it's tiger's eye. One of them, I can't remember. But it holds a bunch of lithium in it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of stones that hold toxic properties, but that doesn't mean just because if you put it in water or drink it or something for a certain amount of days, or even in the food, that it's going to make you sick. It might not make you feel well, but it shouldn't kill you. I do feel like whatever they probably poisoned them with was a little bit stronger than malachite. Because again, I have a malachite ring right here. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I know a little bit about it. I know that it does give off a toxin that can be poisonous, but I would think that it would take a very large amount of it, and it would be very noticeable by whoever was around, especially the children. But we can also find out, again, that's kind of what we're doing the spread for. That's the point. So first we're going to start with Chad, Daybell, and Tammy. So, but hi, Crystal and Marty, and then Sam, I am, Anthony, and everybody else is in the room. So, like I said, let's get started with Chad and Tammy. So I looked at Tammy's picture, like I kind of do everybody else's. And so she gave me a few numbers, and then she gave me some letters and then some words that I don't think it was so much her speaking of herself this way, but I think this was her personality more than anything. So, but basically she gave me the numbers 4, 3, 12, 8, and 9. So that can go however, whatever numbers could have been, involved in what happened to her, how many people, coordinates, things like that. I don't know. Date of death. I don't know. Dates that was planned. Again, these are just numbers she has given me. So like I said, it was 4, 3, 12, 8, and 9. I said the letters are D, A, C, L, R, S, and P. So she gave a lot of letters. But when I looked at her picture, it mainly said sweet, loving, unaware, innocent, bystander, no clue, unexpected, shocked, hurt, surprised, wants peace. So that's going to be her energy. So I'm going to stop there before we move on to what Alice's energy is, because it's quite different. So I don't really want to intertwine the two. He is dark where she is not. So, hi, Amber. I'm glad you could make it. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Grand Lux Tarot by Sugar Marchetti. Like I said, this is the Super 7 that I was talking about, crystal. So again, it holds lots of properties, and I also put selenite on there with a selenite tower to help bring clarity. Hi, Cindy. How are you? And hi, TT. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and start on Tammy. So this is going to be Tammy's reading, basically. So we're going to do a reading for Tammy and Daybell. We're going to figure out what was going on in the weeks, days, and months leading up to her passing, what was going on the day of, who was involved in it, and how she feels about it right now. So, again, this will be the Tarot Grand Lux. Sorry, I couldn't remember the box. By Sugar Marchetti. I'll be laying down the baseboard with it, and then we'll be clarifying it with the Steampunk by Barbara Moore. Hi, Donnie Gypsy. What? Kind of interested to see what card that was. Two of them. She said there's untemperance with the Fool. Wasn't Chad in Aries? Chad's in Aries, I believe. So she was saying that he had no temperance between his emotions and his actions because he was a fool. Because those cards just like shot out of nowhere. So, okay, we're going to ask her again to come with her spirit guides. Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Source, Archangels, anything else that would help us have an answer as to what happened to her. I know, Cece, we missed you too. But like we said, school is important. And once you're done with it, you're done with it, you know? It feels good to finish and be done. Well, any drug is dangerous if you abuse it, caffeine. I mean, really. I mean, anything pretty much anything that can be addictive is dangerous. I forget which, I don't remember if it's malachite that has a lithium or something else, but either way, like I said, you would have to have large amounts of it. I mean, I don't know. You'd probably have to soak that water in malachite for like a year or something to get enough, I would think, in the water alone. And then even at that, I would think it would taste funny. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I still am sticking to it was more of a poison out of something separate. Like she had mentioned a snail venom from Hawaii where she went. And it kills you within seconds. You can put it into a drink. It has no flavor, and you can rub it through the skin. So I'm kind of getting the point, like more or less the fact that she brought up the snail venom, and that's where she went right after was to Hawaii, where the snail venom came from. And that's usually how Black widows do. They poison. If you look up a lot of history, they use poison. And that's kind of what happened with Tammy. A little bit is what I'm feeling. So to me, that is more of a woman thing to do. So I kind of feel like she would have poisoned them with something quick and fast, not slow. But again, like I said, it is called, it's a poisonous snail venom from Hawaii. That's all I know. And that's exactly where she went. The malachite ring is for protection. This is psychic energy protection. This is like if someone, whenever the laws were coming after her, she should have felt it coming. That's what this ring was. That's what she wore that ring for. She wore that ring to try, and she did get away with things for a while. She didn't get arrested right away. I mean, not as fast as normal people would have. You know, a normal individual would have. Yeah, I saw that, Anthony. I said they both had the same symptoms. But it was actually, I forget what they said it was that you would have given them to make the pink foam. The pink foam. I don't remember. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start on it. But they were both foaming somewhat pink at the mouth. I want to say something with the heart or something like that, or the palm or the lungs. But either way, the pinkness is blood. It's blood whenever it's foam coming up like that. So again, we're going to ask for Tammy's spirit guides to come in. How many people suck helium out of balloons? A lot when you're little. More than you probably know. So let's go ahead and see what was going on the weeks, days, and months leading up. The weeks, days, and months leading up to Tammy's passing, how did she feel? All right, so the Page of Swords is here. So this is going to be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy, but it is an offer from a younger person of thoughts. So this can be someone between their 20s to 30s, or this could just be a brand new thought offer, a very immature one. But it was the 5 of coins. So whatever the offer was given her, it sounded like a good idea at the time. I kind of feel like this is Chad offering her something. Chad, yeah. Like, what the hell is his name? Yeah, I think that was him offering her something. Making it sound like if they did this opportunity, maybe with this whole new book thing, that they would make this money and life would be easier. But whenever, the poisoning went on around that time, this was before the poison, this is going to be during the time that, she got ready to pass, she was feeling the 5 of Cups right away. So I think she knew about the affair. She was very fully aware of it. That is why you see the 2 cups sitting in the windowsill and everything else is broken. Those, the other 3 cups are dropped. I don't know how many kids they had total together, but to me, that's more like the, coming out of the grass is greener on the other side. Like if you've been cheated on, it's kind of like you're just feel devastated. You know what I mean? So I think she knew he was cheating for sure. And then now she feels the 6 of Cups. She is no longer with her children, and she's not happy about that of everything the most. So she's got the 6 of Cups in reverse. She's come out of the energy now. I don't know how long she's been past. She's come out of the energy because she knows she can still go visit them, go see them, and go like interact with them in ways that she would want to. But she still wishes she was here with them because they are her children. So she still wants to be here and experience those everyday things, milestones you do with your child. But she is starting to learn that she can still enjoy them with them where she is. So who is the Page of Swords with the 6 of Pentacles? It's Chad. Yeah, this was him coming out of the dark and light. So he basically exposed himself with the Page of Swords about the High Priestess. Now, usually High Priestess is coming out good, but he was holding in like very dark, deep things that he wanted to do. He told her he would make money. They would like come out of the cold and be more abundant. But in all reality, he was lying. He was cheating. That's why the 2 of Cups is in reverse, because he was already cheating. So why is the 5 of Cups here? It says y'all come into the chat room. If you can give it a thumbs up, I'd greatly appreciate it. So we have... And if you could hit the subscribe button and the notification bell over here, I'd greatly appreciate that. Also, if you're interested in chats like this in the future. Hey, Tyra Mystic, how are you? So then we have the 5 of Cups for how she felt when the affair was going on and right before she passed. And it was a 3 of Coins. So even though she knew there was a third party and they were working with 3 of Pentacles, I want to say Lori I don't remember who was the earth sign, if anybody was in that particular situation between Tammy, Chad, and Lori. But they were working together. And I think she thought, even though there was this heartbreak, I think he gave her like this feeling of like things would possibly be okay and they'd work it out. But I think she knew that wouldn't. That's why it's upright. Because to me, it would have been the ending of the third party. It would be reversed. But since it's upright, it's almost like that's why she was still heartbroken, because even though he told her that, she knew he was lying. So we have the 8 of Wands here with the 6 of Cups. So this is how she feels now. So she feels like there's communication that needs to come in a little bit faster. And it is now at this point. They've both been arrested again. So there's action coming in after action after action on top of them. So she is happy about that. So let's see why the 2 of Cups in reverse and the High Priestess in reverse is here. Because of the ending of the happy home. So again, he was having an affair. He brought in the Page of Swords energy, which was this immature offer to make his wife think with the 5 of Coins that it was going to balance out and give them abundance. But truly, he let his High Priestess energy out in reverse that he had been holding in, that he had been cheating with Lori. And so there was no more happy home with the 10 of Cups in reverse. So again, that is more emotion. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. I think Lori's a Cancer, I think. But again, I'm not sure there's a lot of people involved in that case. So let's go ahead and see with the 3 of Coins, how she felt about the 3 of Coins when she passed. What did she think about the 3 of Coins? What does it have to do with her passing? It's a third party. So yes, they did wait for it to happen. They planned it. They waited for the ship to come in and go ahead and kind of have her pass. And it did. So she is saying she is heartbroken with the 5 of Cups, because they put energy, really hard energy, earthly energy, and time and work into making sure to get rid of her. When she's kind of saying, I would have just left anyways if you just told me. You didn't have to do all that. I don't know why people feel the need to do things like that. A lot of times people will just leave. There's no reason to do that. So why is the Eight of Wands here for how she feels now? She feels the Two of Coins. So she feels like whether they'll be convicted or they won't, or this might be the two children that are being balanced. But she's saying with the Two of Coins, I still feel like this is whether they'll be convicted or not. And I think it's whether they'll both get life or they'll both get death, or what they'll each get is what she's waiting for. She knows they're going to get one or the other, but we're not supposed to know yet. So she's not going to tell us yet. She knows, but I said, well, we're not supposed to know yet. It's not time for us to know until the trial happens and then they're convicted and then they're sentenced. So I said, but she is saying that both of them will stand before the judge to be sentenced. So we're going to go ahead and use the Steampunk Tarot to clarify that. I don't know if my chat's frozen again. It freezes constantly. If it is, I apologize. Oh, there it goes. Hi, 77MCL. So we're going to go ahead and clarify now with the Barbara Moore, by Barbara Moore. It's a Steampunk Tarot. Hi, Donna. How are you? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what she's saying. Like, you could have just divorced me. You didn't have to do all that. You know, she would have rather, obviously, like anybody else would have rather had her kids in her life than go through all this drama. But, you know, that's a narcissist and a sociopath for you. All right, so again, we're going to shuffle one more time. Go ahead and clarify the spread for Tammy, and then we'll move on to Alex, and that'll be the spreads I'll be doing tonight. So we have the Page of Swords with the Five of Coins. Can you please show me why he was presenting that to her the weeks, days, and months before he basically murdered her? Because again, he was waiting for the Three of Wands. He was already he offered her this opportunity, this thought opportunity to make her think that it would be more abundant, but really he was closing the three of party deal. So that's how he released the High Priestess energy and flipped the Two of Cups on her right after. So they were talking for a while before this happened, and they planned it for a while. Probably like 4 months at least. Yeah, because they wanted to come. He wanted to come out of the High Priestess mode with the Two of Cups because he felt out in the cold. So even though he told her whatever this opportunity that he would give her, maybe this third party cult, being the cult thing, would make them come out of the cold. And in the reality, he felt out in the cold with her because he didn't want to be with her. So he just manipulated her. That's all, of course. So why the Ten of Cups here? Because of the broken heart. So there was somebody who had a broken heart. This is hers, obviously, because Chad doesn't have a heart. I said, or he wouldn't have done this. And of course, we all know Lori doesn't either. So, and this is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Basically, the happy home, though, was broken. It was no longer there because of Chad's infidelity, and it left a broken heart behind, and that is hers. And that's why the next card coming up, she's literally holding her heart, pretty much, area. And she can see the two cups in the windowsill, which is going to be the affair, and the cups that have spilt, which would have been the good times that she thought they had. Hi, everyone. Come in. Hey, Bill. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while. So she was feeling the Ten of Swords because this is whenever they went ahead and put the plan down on her to go ahead and do what they were going to do with the Ten of Swords and end her cycle. So not only was she kind of heartbroken and she knew something wasn't right, she knew there was more to come. So that's probably where some of the anxiety with the Five of Cups is coming from. So that's, the Cups, Cancers, Pisces, Scorpios. The Sword's going to be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And hi, sweet crazy. How are you? So let's see why the Six of Cups is here in reverse. She's saying that she is not happy about what he's done with her and her children because it ruined their happy home. And the reason I say it's not in reverse, but the Six of Cups is so she is brokenhearted because she wants to go back to this happy home environment with her children and she can't do that. So that's something she holds against them, which she should. I'm good, thank you. All right, so with the 3 of coins, you have the 8 of cups, which means that he was walking away, which is exactly what he did after he executed the murder on her. I mean, I think he murdered. I mean, that's my personal opinion. But once he executed the plan on her, he took off with the Queen of Cups, which I want to say Lori is a Cancer, I want to say, but Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. But basically with the 3 of coins, there was a third party affair. He walked away and he left with that woman, and she is in reverse, which I say, whether that's her energy or not exactly, that's the energy she's carrying. And again, that could have been why she bought the malachite, because she was trying to ground herself with earth so that she'd get away with what she was doing. She thought it was going to help her, kind of like NK did. So why is the 8 of Wands here? Oh, she was a Cancer? I don't see him anymore. Where'd he go? Strength. So basically, once this information comes in, then she will gain strength back. So she knows that once they're exposed for some of the things that they've done, it will expose the truth. And there's nothing that they can really do about it. It will only gain strength because it's like a lion. Like I say, the truth is like a lion. You don't need to defend it once you just set it free and it defends itself. Oh, there you are now. Well, I saw you earlier and I was like, hey, Bill, I ain't seen him in a while, but then I didn't see it again. I kind of distracted shuffling. I apologize. So why is the 3 of Wands here? So the King of Swords. So this is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, male energy. So I think this is still somebody else that kind of helped with her murder. This is not Chad's. This is somebody else's, because Chad's not that intelligent and he's not upright either. So this is someone who is intelligent but easily manipulated, even though they're not in reverse. But it's going to be of like the swords are of the mind. It can represent law, judicial systems, jobs, things like that. So, but it's saying that this person helped them execute the 3 of Wands, which would have been her, what happened to her. So let's go ahead and see why the 2 of Coins is here. Because of the 5 of Cups. So basically, once she's still sad, like she's still not sad, but she's still waiting. She's still balancing, waiting for these 2 pentacles to be made, the decision to be made to put them behind bars. But since it hasn't been made, she's still feeling a little bit out of her strength. So that's what she's saying. Once this communications and brings her strength in, then she can come out of this kind of teeter-tottering, balancing energy, and then she can finally go ahead and come out of this grass is greener on the other side energy, and she can move forward more in the 5D. No, your magic cloth isn't working lately. Or your magic clothes aren't working. So that's going to be Tammy's spread, though. And yeah, she is saying that they very much did plan it. They did poison her of some sort, and that somebody helped. They didn't help do it. They helped move her, at least. Because there's another male energy. So even if like I said, even if the other male didn't do anything, he knows about it, and he knows exactly what happened. No, we're talking about Tammy right now. Lori's just part of the story because she was the one sleeping with Chad behind Tammy's back. But no, we're talking about what happened to Tammy. Once it's over, you can kind of go back to the beginning and kind of replay it, and it'll let you know which one. But right now we're doing Tammy, what happened to her, and what energy level what energy she's given off. Yeah, I said she's not so much telling me that somebody else did it. She's actually telling me more or less that Lori did it. But I don't feel like Chad would have moved her. I think Chad would have had Alex move her. But I don't think he had to be, I don't think he could. So let's kind of go ahead though and get which one is this? This is a mausolea. So this is the Oracle of Souls. So this is going to be what she has to say about them. Or anybody related to it. We're going to do Alex next, too. And see what his involvement was in his own. We're going to pull a couple, though, to see what she has to say about the energy. So we'll pull 3. This is the energy she felt. So, Osiris, God King of Duat, I guess is how you pronounce it. Commitment, accusation, and responsibility. So, basically, he looks creepy as hell, and it looks like he's starting something, and that this is kind of feeling like Chad's energy, more or less, because he always kind of gets like the black or white eyes. And then I think this is very much Lori, which makes sense if you look up Lilith. That's exactly kind of what she plays in the astrology role. So she is known as Lilith, the thief of life, which she is. She's a Black Widow. Hunger, animalism, and instinct. So basically, she hunts the men down. She does what she wants with them, and then she does whatever it is that's going to benefit her in the long run. So again, she is representative of Lilith, like I said, the thief of life. So, and if you look her up in astrology, you will understand why. So that is very much her energy. And then the traveler. Now, this is the keeper of the crossroads. So restlessness, independence, and appraisal. So I think she's saying like, whenever she passed over, it was not as smooth as she would have liked. And it was not the type of transition or the person that she would have, not that anybody would want anybody around to pass that way, but whoever it was all bad intentions. And she was just saying, if you look at this person, and even what's pulling it, it is the most crooked looking thing. What kind of thing is that? You know, like look at the face on an animal's body. Like it's creepy. This doesn't even have a face. It just has like a red dot where the eye would be. So, yes, I think they very much brought that in on her. And then we have a fortune telling deck. I have not seen that psychic. I don't think so, Bill, but I have, I do think there was some of that going on for sure. And I think that's something that has to do with the fire pit. That's why I kept saying there's a fire pit. There's a fire pit. But, I don't want to get into too much detail about that, yet until they release more stuff about that, because then I don't want it to just be like, oh, you just assumed, you know what I mean? But yeah, I kind of picked up on a few of those things with the fire. That's why the fire pit was used, at least. So, they're saying there was an official, someone has bad health and they're an official person. So that is someone who's going to be a part of it. So maybe that's why they were able to get away as long as they did, because they were connected to officials in some way, but they have bad health. Somebody is not doing as well as they should be doing or should have been doing. But basically, and then it led to death. So, I mean, that's kind of what it all led to, but they're just basically saying there is an official person behind this, and that's why it lasted this long. It led to the death and any other things that were bad going on, as far as them maybe not picking up poisoning or things like that could have been picked up sooner if somebody would have been paying attention. What was in the affidavit yesterday? I didn't see anything about yesterday, the affidavits. Are you about the bodies? Hi, Lisa. I think I saw you coming too. And we'll get ready to do Alex's next. I'm just kind of curious what we're talking about the affidavit. So it said it in the affidavit, because I didn't know there was an affidavit released yesterday. So is that the condition of their body? Like that they were burned a little bit? So they were burned. Yeah, they burned her. Okay. All right, let's move on real quick, y'all. So we're going to go and move into Alex now. Alex gave out the number 2, 8, and 6. His letters are PCMES. He's a puppet. He's vindictive. He's plotting. He's planning. And he's manipulative. That's what I got for him. I'm just thinking about something. I didn't know they released the affidavit. Yeah. I was kind of hoping that's not what happened with her, but if it says it in the affidavit, then it says it. What was Alex doing the weeks, days, and months leading up to all this? Where was his mind frame? What did he think he was doing? How did he think he was going to solve anything by behaving this way? He was ready to fight, and he had no emotions. That's why. He had the 5 of Wands, so he wanted to fight. He was very aggressive, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And then his emotions would also be reversed, so that means he had none. So that's why he didn't have a problem doing what he did to any of the people that he did. He would have been considered a serial killer if he's still alive. What happened with the children and Tammy? What did you do with the children and Tammy, and why? Why did you do it? Yeah, he wasn't right. He's the King of Swords in reverse. So the King of Swords in reverse is going to be much like the Queen of Swords in reverse. They're going to come in, play with your mind, play with your thoughts, and then they're going to be off. They're going to execute whatever plan it is. Like I said in tarot, when you're first kind of taught by the kings and the Queen of Swords in reverse, it's going to be the off with your head, kind of like the Henry Tudor King. So they're very vicious when they are in reverse. They don't really talk. They don't really do much. They just kind of, that's it. How are you feel now that you've been taken out the same way? He feels the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. His harvest is spoiled. So it almost seems like the amount of people that he took out himself, including himself. So wherever he is, which isn't the earthly realm anymore, he misses the earthly realm, but he realized he spoiled his harvest here, so he doesn't belong here. Thank y'all for letting me know that. I didn't know. I'll have to check out the affidavit. Not today, obviously, because he thought by being the 5 of Wands in reverse aggressive and then being unemotional and doing what his sister told him to do, basically, because he was a puppet, just like he said. And he liked plotting. He was vindictive. He was a criminal, and he was manipulative. So he didn't mind breaking up what her husband would have looked at as a happy home. He thought he still loved Lori, but she didn't love him. So she didn't care how she made him feel. So she sent him over there with the King of Swords. Like I said, it's going to be the off with your head king. And she sent him over there to start the death cycle. So that's exactly what he did. Whatever, that's what he was for. He was her puppet to create death and bring it about. Why is the 7 of Pentacles here in reverse for how you feel now? I don't want 2 cards from you. You can give 1. Why is the 7 of Pentacles here in reverse for how you feel now? He's the High Priestess. So basically, he's stuck in the dark and the light where he is because of the way he played. So he is not in a pleasant place. He has spoiled his harvest. He is the high priestess. He's playing in the dark and the light still. So he has still not learned what he's done wrong. And even if he has, he doesn't really care at this moment. He's kind of just sitting back watching from where he is because everything's going down now. I almost feel like he was almost relieved that he is dead and didn't have to deal with any of it, to be honest. Which is even more crooked. So then you have the Ten of Cups with the Page of Cups. So yeah, the children now. So yes, he did do and help something with the children that had to do with the children because the Page is going to represent children and emotions. Cancer's, Scorpio's, Pisces. And again, Lori was a Cancer, mother of the Zodiac. So again, to me, this is her children. It's a boy on the card. It was about the same age as JJ. So again, I don't think that she cared. She brought him in to flip this house upside down, get rid of his wife, get rid of her children. She brought in the dust cycle with him, so she knew that she could get him to do whatever she wanted, and then she would get rid of him because he wasn't that intelligent. So let's go ahead and see why the death card is here. Yeah. Yeah, so basically, she had him come in with the King of Swords in reverse to bring in a death cycle again to ruin a somewhat seemingly happy home. But they weren't. They were both cheating in both households. So not only was he cheating in his, as far as Chad, with Lori, and then Chad was, and then Tammy. So that's two different households that were being cheated on. So again, they're bringing the death cycle in to show that these two households were not happy whatsoever. At least not what they appeared to be. So why is the High Priestess here for how he feels now? He feels like a fool because he is. He basically did whatever she told him to do, and now he's dead. And he's basically lost his Empress energy. He's not feeling so earthly and grounded anymore. So now he realizes that actually, again, I don't know if she's taken on the Empress a lot. She's always comes out as the Empress. So he realizes he looks like a fool because Lori made him a fool. So not only is he dead, but she's still here. Now she might be in jail, but she ain't dead. He is. And it's by her doing. So that's how he looks at her. I think he looks too at her a little bit as a High Priestess on top of it. I mean, I don't really see how you couldn't. We'll go ahead and clarify that with the... Sorry, my card's like falling everywhere. We'll go ahead and clarify that with the Steampunk. Sorry. Yeah, I agree, Bill. Nobody does. And I agree about Tylee, too. She knew. She knew what her mom did. That's what I said. She knew what she was capable of. I just don't think she thought she would have done it to her, because they were children. So I think that's why she wanted to graduate early and she wanted to move away quick because I think she wanted to get away from it. But then she had JJ and she didn't want to leave him behind. At least that's how I feel. I think she feels like she had to protect him. But like I said, I don't feel like no matter what would have happened, she still would have done what she did. She would have found a way to make it happen. Like you said, nobody makes it out alive around Lori, it seems. So let's go ahead and see why the Steampunk Tarot is here, or why this recent past, how he felt when he did the murdering, and how he feels now for Alex and his involvement in it with Lori, Chad, the children, and then Tammy. So this is Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore. The first card came out. So basically, he was coming in as the Knight of Pentacles whenever he brought in the Knight of Cups. So not only was he bringing in emotion, but he was bringing in earthly things to start this fight. So that is something he was going to do that was being planned, and so they were planning it. So that is going to be two different male energies. So that would be Chad, and that would probably be Alex. Because of the happy home underneath it. It's trying to be ruined. Yeah, they wanted a brand new start with the Ace of Pentacles to a new happy home. So they wanted a brand new start with each other. They didn't want to be with their spouses anymore. So they thought if they got them out of the way, they'd have this new opportunity with the Ace of Pentacles. And if they got the children out of the way, that was the next step. because underneath the Ace of Pentacles is the Page of Cups in reverse, which would be the children in my mind. Why is the Page of Cups here? Yeah, so now they have the Knight of Cups coming in. So now there's 2 Knight of Cups. So yeah, she came in as herself with the Knight of Cups, and she offered them something to drink or do that poisoned them, and that killed them, I think. That's what I think it says. I'm still sticking with the poison. I don't think it was malachite. It was something else. And it was something they couldn't taste. It was quick, and it wasn't very much. It's almost like it's like there 1 second, out the next. That's what I'm saying. So, and as I said, this is her sign. Like I said, she's bringing the cup in. She's bringing the chalice in. Like, here you go. And then there's a cup on here, too. The same thing, the chalice with the children, except it's reversed. So she didn't do it right. Like she didn't do – it wasn't a good offer. It wasn't a good cup. So then she sends the he's coming in with on – whether this is Tammy or this is her other husband, I don't know, but maybe he helped with both of them too. I don't know because I know he killed Lori's husband. I don't know if he was dead before Tammy died or not, but if he didn't, then he helped plan Tammy's, because the Knight of Swords is here with the star. So it's a brand new start to a life of something, of some sort. So that's what I'm saying. So he was having a brand new start with the star. And the start was the death. So he was making all these death cycles come in. Kind of like the moon cycles. And that's why the star is sitting on the edge of the moon. So it's kind of like I think he was probably responsible for more than 3 of the deaths, at least. Yeah, and then, because there was no equal give and take. He was trying, there was no equal give and take, at least to her in the pinnacle world, the earthly realm. She wanted to balance this stuff out and make sure that she got it fairly. So he went ahead and put the death cycle into motion to make sure that she could balance it out and have fairness and have the happy home she wanted with Chad and not her ex anymore. That's too many. Just one, please. Why is the 4 of Wands here? So yeah, it's the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups. I think we had them already. No, the Knight. Yeah, so the King of Pentacles is here upright. And then the King of Cups is here in reverse. Now, I'm still going to say the King of Cups in reverse is going to be Alex, only because he was so emotionally unstable and he didn't mind doing all those things. Now, the King of Pentacles to me is more going to be Chad. Even though he might not be a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, doesn't matter. He's carrying the earthly energy of keeping himself together, staying poised, writing his books, doing his teachings, doing all of those things that would have gotten him this happy home and attention. So they thought by behaving this way, the 2 of them would bring in this happy home for Chad and Lori. So Alex was helping Chad and Lori to set this new life up for themselves because he was going to be a part of it. So now he's feeling like the 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, so he would have helped then. So with his 2 kids, then, so that's what, 4? Yeah, so it's about 4. So he would be a serial killer. He'd be considered a serial killer if he was alive. I mean, he still is, because he did it. So he's still, to me, he's considered a serial killer. But, I mean, he hasn't been convicted. He's already passed. I mean, whatever. But from the energy you can pick up, yes, he very much was involved. And more than just the children. He was involved with the spouse's passings too. And he's saying the reason he feels the harvest was spoiled because he put a lot of hard work into making sure it didn't get spoiled. So like I said, again, here's the pinnacle that he put all this hard time and work into. And it's, that's what he was looking at. But it was exposed by Lori, the high priestess. And so he's not happy about that. She carried too much dark and light, and it kind of screwed him over too. He did it too. But she kept going, and then she killed him. So that's where he feels like an ass about. So why is the High Priestess here for how he feels about Lori? Why is the High Priestess here? How do you feel? 1 second. Whoops. Almost fell out my chair over. Okay, the High Priestess here, he feels like the Sun is in reverse. So there's no brand new start with the High Priestess. So he feels betrayed. That can represent childhood too, because there's usually a baby on there for the sun. It can be a baby, but the sunflowers also represent new life in the sun. So he feels betrayed, and there's a man and woman on the card, and she is blonde. So he's saying that he feels a little bit betrayed about the fact that he didn't think she would do it to him. But again, and he feels like a fool because he did it for these two people who are lovers. Like I said, they're in reverse. Well, for one, they're not together anymore. They're both arrested and split apart. They're not, I mean, whether they're married or not, doesn't matter. But they weren't no good to begin with. Like, it was a crappy foundation that they built it on to begin with. So he feels like a fool now for helping and doing it. So why is the Empress here? Because of the Hierophant. So the Empress in reverse, he feels like the source all-knowing will come in on her while she's in the reverse, while she's in jail, and that they will go ahead and serve her justice as well. So he is holding on to that. So even though he participated in all this, he still wants to see her go to jail too, forever, or have whatever penalty they give her. And I said, as far as I know, they're supposed to have a death penalty there. As many people as she's taken out or, has had set up, I think that they should enforce it. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm from Texas, so I believe in death penalty, especially when you got that many people involved, children, and then the things that they did to them. So we're going to go ahead and do some oracles really quick. We're going to go back to the Oracle of Souls and see what Alex has to say about it. He also was shooting at Melanie's ex, shot at Tammy as well. He was a real life hitman. Yeah, that's what he was a serial killer, basically. And he enjoyed it. Like he liked the thrill of it. Like I said, it's almost kind of sick. I mean, it is sick because you can see him kind of smiling while it's all going on. Like he's getting off on the fact that he's scaring the crap out of these people, which is a serial killer. So there it is. So the Morrigan, I guess, Weaver of Fate, antipathy, introspection, and opposition. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but basically it looks creepy and it looks like him, like he's weird. It is saying there are ravens on them, birds, blackbirds. They said, and then opposition. So he was kind of like always put in the position, or at least asked to be put into the, she would ask him probably, I'm sure, will you do this or will you do that? And so he would agree. So he would introspect on it, think about how to do it, and then he would do it. So that's kind of like what he's saying about it. He said the thinker, the father of knowledge. So he did think about what he was doing. So he's very well aware of what he did. Knowledge, instruction, and then renovation. So that's what I'm saying. Like he planned it. It was all planned. It was all instructed. And like I said, and it was all knowledge. Like I said, he knew exactly what he was doing. So there was no misunderstandings. And then matriarch, mother of a homestead. I think this is her rejection, opportunities, and consequences. So there was always a consequence with Lori. And there is. So no matter what you do, like I said, it's like, it kind of reminds me like Robert Durst. Like anybody who's been around kind of ends up dead type of thing. Like it's kind of like the same thing with her, except the female version. So, and there's never really a good reason as to why. I don't know. Let's see what else we can get on the fortune telling ones. No, not necessarily. I don't think so, Bill, because I've watched a whole trial before. Yeah. I've watched a whole trial before where they never found a body. They never found nothing. They literally convicted him on burner phones, receipts, and the fact that the gravel in her driveway was all turned up. Like you could see where she was trying to like grip her feet into the ground so he couldn't drag her to the car and take her. And they caught his ping. I don't remember. There was never no body found though. I know that. And they caught his ping like on some area. And they convicted him on it. He got life. And I don't remember where it was, but it was somewhere. I was kind of shocked that they had nothing. Like nothing other than just pings on a phone, a couple of receipts like that, but they got him on that. Like I said, so it really depends on the jury, and how much sense they have, kind of like Casey Anthony's. Like they went, oh, we didn't have enough proof. You didn't have enough proof that girl did something wrong to that baby. She was the last one with her. She was the one responsible for her. She was the caretaker, and she didn't even report her missing, stolen. What did she say? Drowned, whatever. I mean, she had like 5 different things that supposedly happened to her, and she just went and dumped her into the forest and went about her life and got tattoos about how great her life was. That's what I'm saying. That jury was a bunch of idiots. I'm sorry. I hope if y'all are listening, y'all heard that. Because y'all should be put in jail for letting that girl go. She's taking her uterus out before they let her out. But, so again, we have official person. So they are messing with an official person because that came out in the last one. And it's a community of a cult. So that's what they're working with. It says community, but they're a cult. They're trying to be a part of this cult. So that is the environment they are working in. Oh, I couldn't even with Casey Anthony. That's what I'm saying. I can't. I hate that was just ridiculous. I haven't looked into Melanie P too much. That's somebody else I'd have to look into next. I just got finished looking into Tammy and Alex, so I can look into Melanie soon, but that's what I'm saying. That Casey Anthony was one of the best. Like I said, I swear I probably had to sit there like in shock for like 10 minutes, like tears rolling on my face, could not believe these people. And then they said, well, there wasn't, and they didn't have enough evidence. They had to prove it, and they didn't prove it. They proved it. Like I said, they more than proved it on Casey Anthony. That's what I'm saying. That's why she was shocked when they said not guilty. That's what I'm saying, because she knew her ass should have been sitting in jail for the rest of her life. And the way she acted after that baby went missing for a whole month, that's what I'm saying. She should have just been guilty for that. Same thing with Boswell. Throw away the key and end it. Who cares about either one of them? Ain't no damn parent. You wouldn't even. I would freak out if my damn cat was missing for 30 minutes, and you're gonna go for 30 days and not say nothing, and then send them on a wild goose chase about some lady who is Annie the nanny, who we find out later is probably your name for the drugs you're giving her so that you can go out and party. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, even her own dad said that. And he was a retired police officer. He said it was a nickname for a drug and that he thought that she would give it to her because she seemed like she was like that sometimes. And again, he was a retired police officer, so I'm sure he saw it. Oh, yeah, I had to because I had broken my foot. So I didn't even know about the trial of Sam I Am until I had my foot broken that year to have it reconstructed. So I was laying in bed and I got into like court TV and stuff and started watching the whole trial, and I couldn't believe it. That was probably one of the first cases that I ever saw that just like, I mean, really, like I cried when they let that girl go. Like I could not believe that poor baby. Like they did nothing for her. Nothing. To me, and I don't see any justice carried through for what happened to Kaylee at all, and that's sad because she should have never been able to leave jail just because. I mean, even the improper disposal of a human body and child neglect, and she should have been convicted on all. I don't know. I don't remember. I want to say she got off on all those charges, but either way, there were so many other things they could have convicted her with. Tampering with, remains. I mean, I'm just saying, like, she could have went to jail for longer, and they dropped the ball. They did. Oh, I watched that's what I'm saying. I watched little clips of her when she was singing, and so I can't even, like I said, it's sad. It's so sad. And all because I think it was just between her and her mom. That's what the worst thing is. Her and her mom just didn't get along. And had this power struggle over the child. And so, unfortunately, the child, ended up paying for it. Because they got in an argument that night before. And that's what the mom told her, that she was going to take the baby from her. Because she couldn't be, she wasn't being a good mom or whatever. And then that happened. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'll never understand that either. I don't get what they were thinking. I don't know, when they came out with that defense right away, like, and then they kept changing it. They shouldn't have been able to do that. Like, I understand, like, you can somewhat change it, but they, like, at least know where we're from. Like, you're supposed to, like, give notice to the other side of what you're going to claim happened and let them know. And that's supposed to be something like what I thought with any state kind of. But like they kept changing their theory even during the trial. And there should have been a point to me where it should have been stopped and been like, you know what? Like you can't sit over here and keep saying something else happened when it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, first it was that you were raped and it was this horrible thing. And then the baby drowned. And then it was an accident. And then the babysitter took her. And then, no. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, stick to one story or we're going to stop this trial and start all over again. Is how I feel like it should have been stopped right when she came out that gate with that pool theory. Because that was the first time she ever said anything about her drowning in a pool. She never said nothing about that before that I remember. Yeah, she blamed the dad for things that happened in like the childhood and then saying that the dad was yelling at her about the baby getting outside into the pool. But she was inside sleeping, supposedly, when all this was happening, even though she's supposed to be the mother. So that's what I'm saying. Like, she's just a liar. She was just a liar, and I can't believe they let her off on it. Like I said, it was really, really ridiculous. Really ridiculous. Like I said, she should still be sitting right where she was. So that's, like I said, that was just a major injustice on, Kaylee's part. So that's unfortunate, but man, unfortunately too, it seems like that's where dumbass Megan Boswell thinks that she got away with what she did. Who knows? Or thinks that she could have got away with what she did. Obviously she didn't. She's still sitting behind bars awaiting trial, but I don't see her going anywhere. Yeah, she's manipulative. She's so full of crap. Even when they did that interview with her and they were like, oh, well, how do you think Kaylee would be now? Like, if she was, like, however many years ago that was, when Kaylee would have been, like, I think, like, 10 or 11 or something. I don't know. Kaylee was, like, I think me and my son were, like, 1 year apart or something like that, if I remember, a couple years apart. But they were kind of close in age, my oldest one. And she, I just think she'd be so cool and she'd be a badass and da-da-da-da-da. She's talking about herself. If you really, really listen to her in that interview, she is talking about herself. She's not talking about Kaylee. Like, she's not talking about Kaylee. She's talking about herself and what she thought of herself as a child. And what she thinks everybody else should have thought of her. How great she was and how she didn't put up with nobody's shit. And she was a badass. Like I said, why would you be saying that about your child? Like I said, and then she talks about, well, I sleep good every night. How do you sleep good every night? I'd really like to know that. Because there's still been no justice brought to what happened to your daughter, even though you try to claim that it was your daddy's fault, which it wasn't. And we all know that. But regardless, like I said, you sit there and say you sleep good at night because you know what you did and you were a part of it. That's why you sleep good. Like I said, because if my kid, no matter how it happened, I would not sleep good at night. And for her to say that was just disgusting. And then talking about how she would be a badass and all this kind of young little girl. As I'm saying, she's talking about herself is who she's talking about. As I'm saying, she's a goddamn narcissist. Excuse my language. But she's talking about herself. I said, if you go back and watch that interview and take the word Kaylee out of it and put her name into it, she's smiling the whole time. Like how great it would be. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, you have never had any justice brought to what happened to Kaylee. And you sit there and say that you sleep good every night. You dropped the ball right there, sis. That's what I'm saying. And it's just disgusting. And she's not even hiding her crazy. she's just walking around. That's what I'm saying. There's been people in jail for a lot less than people like her walking around completely crazy. And everybody can tell. Yeah, that's just one of them cases where, if I think about it enough, it just, I just can't. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just, Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Rosie. I'm 34 years old. My mom still calls me constantly. And if I don't answer within a couple hours, she'll probably be knocking on my door and be like, you all right? Everything's okay? You know what I mean? Just to make sure. You know what I mean? And it's just you go 30 days and claim that you just thought a babysitter took off with her and you were just looking on your own, but then you're videotaped or, taking pictures of you doing hot body contests and getting a tattoo saying how great your life is, but you didn't do anything wrong. That's what I'm saying. It's almost like you really have to look at them jurors and be like, are you kidding me? I remember watching a video on one of the jurors who said that they don't sleep at night. That's what I think is another thing that's odd too. Even one of the jurors said that they think they made the wrong decision and they lose sleep at night for making the wrong decision. But Casey Anthony sleeps great at night. What does that say? When one of the own jurors who should have convicted her guilty says that they wish they would have, and they've lose sleep at night over it, but she says she sleeps great. But her child was murdered. Crazy. I hope so, TT. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like some people just get away with BS. I do. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because you don't see it, I guess. and so it's one of the, it's kind of, for me, I like to see results. You know what I mean? Like if they deserve it and it's supposed to be coming to them, it's like, I'm not saying like, oh, I want to see, but I'm just saying like, it'd be nice to know if someone who deserved it finally got it. You know what I mean? But I don't know, just for some weird reason, I just feel like she's just gonna, when she got out, she faded off and you don't hear anything about her except for that stupid interview she gave. But besides that, I mean, she made an ass out of herself, and I still highly doubt she cares whether she made an ass out of herself or not. But she did, and she's been quiet ever since then. So I'm not really sure how that's going for her either. Yeah, right. Psychopaths can sleep better. That's what I'm saying. One of the jurors who said they wish they would have convicted her said they could not sleep at night. But yes, Casey Anthony talks about how great she sleeps at night, even though her daughter was murdered. Well, first she was kidnapped, then she was murdered, then she drowned, that's what I'm saying. She changed her story so many times. She should have stayed in jail just for that. That should be a law. No, she had no empathy at all. The only time she cried, too, that's another thing, if you were able to watch the whole thing. And I think you said you did, Sam. If you notice when she cried during the trial, she only cried when they talked about how great of a person she was, how great of a mother she was. Like when they had character witnesses coming on for her. Now, which wasn't very many, but the few that did, when they would talk about how great she was, that's when she would cry, how great of a mother she was. But she would never cry. Like even when they were looking at the pictures of the body and doing the autopsy, showing she wouldn't look at it, and if she did, she would just like she could, you know what I mean? It was almost like she was pissed they were showing it or something. You know what I mean? Like guilt. I mean, to me, it's nothing but straight guilt. Like I said, you don't feel bad for it, and it reminds me of the girl that murdered my friend. Like I said, she had no shame in there. Like she even went through the trouble of making, even when she was being interrogated after the murder, she's sitting there on the interrogation acting so irritated with him still. And it's like, you do realize you already killed him, right? And you admitted it. So I don't know what you're still irritated for. You already killed him. So, but it got to, I couldn't believe it how on camera during the interrogation, she's sitting there rolling her eyes, then and you just killed somebody over BS because they didn't do what you wanted them to do. And you're actually just you just graduated from being a police officer on top of it. So I don't know, that's a whole other subject. That's probably why I'm a little bit passionate about it, but I'm just saying people's true colors show. They always do. Well, yeah, obviously the jury didn't feel there was enough evidence, but there was. There was way more than enough evidence to convict her. Like I said, her being the mother, for one, and not reporting her missing from day one. They said when you have a child, if your child's missing, it is your responsibility to do and report anything right away. Any type of child endangerment, your child's been kidnapped, anything of the sort. And she went on for 30 days and lied. And she even took them down to the Disney World or whatever that place is, and walked them all around it, making them think she worked there, and then finally got to the end of the hallway and was like, oh, I don't really work here. And they were like, well, no shit. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You really were going to walk them around and around and around this whole theme park until what? Eventually somebody was like one of your old employee friends were like, hey, how are you? And you could be like, yeah, I used to work with them. What were you going to do? You knew you didn't work there, so why would you bring them there? So I'm saying, like, it's weird things like that. That's kind of like, oh, yeah, cuckoo, like, you're nuts. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to go walk cops into a place that I don't work at and go, oh, yeah, I work here, and I'm going to walk you around the whole building and then get to the very end of, like, a dead-end entrance and be like, oh, yeah, by the way, I was lying. I didn't really work here. Sorry. I just wasted, like, a whole nother, like, 12 hours of looking for my daughter after I've wasted a whole 30 days. Sorry. That's what I'm saying. Like, she should have been thrown in jail right then and there, and that been the end of it. Yeah, that's exactly. And then the chloroform being so high in the trunk. Yeah, and the dad was saying that. Like, he had smelled plenty of dead bodies. Being a police officer, that's exactly what it smelled like. It was not trash. Trash doesn't smell. And even the car was parked by a dumpster on purpose so that nobody noticed the smell. So I noticed that too in the report. When they went to pick it up, she had parked it by an apartment dumpster so that nobody thought it stunk bad. They just assumed it was the dumpster that stunk. What happened? Who's exonerating OJ? Isn't like OJ like in a mental institution or something? I don't know. Yeah. That's what they say, Lisa. Like I said, but I was like one of the people who like to see results. You know what I mean? So, not that it's my place to have to see the result, but it's always nice to see karma at its finest when it needs to be. OJ is so full of crap. I don't even know what's going on with him right now. Is he in jail or is he like out right now? I thought he was like in jail the last time I heard anything about him, or at least he was supposed to be going to trial or something like that. Last time I heard he like robbed somebody or some place in Las Vegas, and that was the last I really heard about him. I haven't looked into him too much since then. Because I was like, figures, he's still doing stupid shit stuff. Oh, he's quarantined. Good. Oh, yeah, he definitely is. He's definitely capable of that. He has proved it more than once, and he still keeps doing things again and again that prove that he has no problem with doing it. Yeah, I saw that where he supposedly said, if I did it. It's like, what do you mean, if you did it? Like, you mean, like, you did do it? Like, is that what you meant to write? It was a misprint? Yeah. Well, it just sucks because it does like lie on the jury and the judge, and like, you know what I mean? Like I said, I've seen some trials that are almost identical and it go one way for one person, totally different for another, and there's no reason why it should have gone that specific to its own. But there's something, like I said, there's people, like I said, who are behind bars for far less than things that like are going on, like they just shouldn't have been, Yeah, I heard that, Bill. That's what I'm saying too. It's like there shouldn't have been any privilege. You know what I mean? And it's kind of almost kind of became the same way a little bit with Casey Anthony because she was young and people thought she was pretty and all this crap like that. So that's kind of basically why it's like there was people even out there asking her to get married and have a baby with them after she got out. It's like, really, you would want to have a baby with somebody like that who is like basically on trial for killing their baby and dumping them in the woods? That's what I'm saying. Like, people are nuts. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's nuts to me that people even yeah. Well, I think with the death penalty, like, it should only be used when you're positive. Like, you're 100% positive that they did it. You know what I mean? Like I said, if not, then life should be used. But like with like Gannon, for example, she 100% did it. So, you know, Lori, she 100% did it. Megan, she 100% did it. Both Megans, Megan Formeska and Boswell, both did it for sure, 100%. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's when it should be used, when they've already admitted to it and they told how it happened and why they did it. Or they've completely lied and keep changing their story and they just don't have no empathy for what they did. The purple stone? I have a purple one up here. I don't know if this is the amethyst, the raw amethyst. And then I had a Super 7. It has purple in it. But it's 7 stones, like in one. I don't think I had... This one was... this is rose quartz. It's more pink. But I don't think I really have like a purple small one. I have this one, but it's smoky quartz. Yeah, right, Donna, I agree. That's what I'm saying, though, but it's not even like her look should have mattered to me. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, just because, like, Ted Bundy, he wasn't like a horrible looking man, but he was crazy. Like, he did horrible things to these women. You know what I mean? And he would have kept doing it. He escaped numerous times. He wasn't crazy looking by looking at him, but he was fucking nuts. That's what I'm saying. So I just feel like, and that's a whole other situation. That's your baby too. You know what I mean? Not to say that the other women didn't matter because they weren't his daughter, you know, but I'm saying like that was her baby. That's what I'm saying. Like, and she disposed of her like trash. That's what I'm saying. Like, and for the jurors to make it seem like they didn't have enough evidence or something like that, that's not right. Yeah, I agree. There does need to be like, they need to look into it again and see what they can do to kind of like make it better. Thank you, Bill. And it's good to see you too. You have a good one. Take care. Yeah, if they would have stopped it at Charles, like Christine said, the other people wouldn't have died. The kids wouldn't have probably died. You know, Tammy wouldn't. That's what I'm saying. But they didn't listen. And that's the thing. They never listen to the people. Like, I don't know. It always just seems like the people who really need the help and it should be listened to, they don't get it. And I don't understand why. And the things that really don't matter is the things they focus on. And I don't know if it's because it's easier for them to just go, oh, well, we tried and we don't feel like dealing with it and it's crap, so they don't have to do anything about it, versus actually having to write up paperwork and take care of things and do things. Like, I don't know why some react the way they do. But yeah, they failed him. That's what I'm saying. The same thing with Gabriel Fernandez. Like, I mean, you think of those CPS workers, those cops, they failed him. I watched a body cam of the cops, and I'm not saying that these cops did anything particularly wrong, but you can see right when you walk in that this is not a loving, warm, household. There's something not right. You know what I mean? Like, it was dirty. It was nasty. And it was like, as soon as you walked the door, and she was laughing almost at them, like, really? Like, you're not satisfied enough with this? Fine, I guess I'll go get this. Like I said, and if you were to do that where I'm from, it's like they would freak out on you and act like there's something wrong with you if you were to act that way. So that's why I don't understand how some people get away with that. Like, some of these people get away with like losing their crap completely and being just nasty and ugly, while others can sit there and like be completely calm or whatever, and they're still treated as if they've done something wrong. You know what I mean? Like that's why I guess it just depends on the person that comes out, you know, and what they've been, because as much as they're not supposed to put their own personal opinion or experiences into it, I think they do. I think they do a lot, especially if it's happened to them. I want to say it was pulmonary, so that should be lungs. Yeah, if it's a pulmonary edema, if that's what it was called, I believe it was a pulmonary edema. So that would be of the lung area coming out. That's why it was pink when it was coming out of the mouth. Yeah, that's true, TT. People don't care. People care less and less about each other and what they do to other people and how they make them feel, and it's really sad. That's what happened in my car. My car was stolen, or it was taken, and then I tried to report it as stolen. Well, first I reported it missing because I didn't know what happened to it, so I didn't want to report it as stolen. But then after a few days, I tried to report it as stolen with like some other items, and they wouldn't let me. My car ended up being totaled and all kinds of stuff, and they still wouldn't let me change it to being like I said, it was ridiculous. As I'm saying, there was no reason why, and as I said, I wasn't even there when the car was crashing. They still wouldn't let me change it because they didn't want to admit they messed up by not running the plates. So I'm just saying, it's like there has to be some point where these people take responsibility for what they do too. They shouldn't be able to get off on everything just because they work for the state sometimes. You know what I mean? They should have to follow a certain protocol too still, I feel like. So y'all are welcome for the readings. And sorry about the Casey Anthony rant and how I felt like that whole thing just kind of failed, you know, Kaylee, the whole system, and you know, and Gabriel and some of the other children. But that is how I feel about those. Like I said, those are some of the things that actually got me into it, looking more into some of these kind of cases, is because of things like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how somebody can get away with stuff like that when people can do far less worse. Like, and nothing happened. You know what I mean? It's like their ass is nailed to a wall, but Casey Anthony and Lori Vallow can do all this crazy bullshit, and they're walking around for months. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But you're welcome, Tara. Oh, hi, Mimi. Yeah, I was a little late. We're getting ready to sign out, but it's okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Amber. Things like that. They don't care. Like, last time I checked, you can't just take some. It's like they made it sound like because someone like, used the car to go get something that I couldn't report it stolen. And I'm like, so if I tell my neighbor, can I use your car to go to the corner store and I don't come back for days, and then you can't do nothing to me? And they're like, well, I mean, yeah. And I was like, well, then what is the difference? That's what I'm saying. Like, it was like they made no sense. It's like they make no sense. And then when you ask them to make sense, then they get irritated with you. And it's kind of like, and then it's like, well, then we'll take you to, you know, like, it's like, all right, go push your authority somewhere else. Like, I'm so sick of hearing it. You're welcome, Donna. Yeah, that's true. Eileen Wuornos is super crazy. Like, I've tried to watch stuff on her, but her eyes are like crazy, crazy eyes. Like, I mean, like she's disturbing to watch, kind of. Like, those are the one few of the things that right. Bring on the next realm. But those are one of the few serial killers that I can't like. It's hard for me to focus and pull in. Not her energy is very, very like you don't want that around. You know what I mean? Like she's not just like a serial. Like she's completely off. Like completely off. Like that's not. I don't even understand how she was like out of jail for as long as she was. I might have to. Well, I seen the movie where she was in there with, like, I think Christina Ricci, and I said, and the movie wasn't that bad, but I watched where they did a couple interviews with her in jail, and that's why I was like, because I said, if anything, she should have been being treated, I would think. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that would change somebody. But even once she wasn't, I don't know if she chose not to maybe have the treatment when she was in jail, or maybe they didn't offer the treatment. But she almost seemed like the more she was in jail, the more she became more aggravated and irritated. And I can understand that too, because she felt that she was wronged by the system. But that, like I said, again, that's something I'd have to look more into, because I said the only thing I've seen of the interviews from her is I can see it's a very disturbing energy to sit in. So that's the only thing about it. I don't really want to channel her. Like, I can watch stuff maybe about her, but I really wouldn't want to bring her into my area, just because she's very unstable and very impulsive. Okay. I'll check it out and see what it has to say about it. I'll check it out, TT, and see what it's about. I know I watched a couple of clips from when she was in jail, but that's all I really saw. It's just her energy freaks me out, kind of. Like I said, I've channeled obviously a lot of, unfortunately, like murder cases, missing people, serial killers, something like that. But she's definitely has one that there's something about her that I just don't. No, thank you. Like, I don't know. It's something with her eyes. I don't know what it is. Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure everybody failed her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been in the position she was as far as mental stability. But the problem is she did get there. You know what I mean? Like, there also has to be a point where one individual can step in and say, okay, I'm not behaving properly either. This isn't proper for me to be behaving this way. I mean, when you start having thoughts about killing other people, things like that. I mean, of course, it's easier said than done when you're in that position, because I'm not in her position, never been there, never done that. So I'm not judging her, but I'm just saying, like, at some point you have to realize that you can be a danger to not only yourself, but others around you. And that's when it becomes your responsibility to break that chain so it don't happen again. And she kind of, didn't do that. She kind of went ahead and continued on with the murder sprees kind of thing, and then used her past as an excuse for it. And the thing is, like, she was old enough to where she probably should have pulled back from that and went and got help and not used that as an excuse, kind of, is the only way I feel about it. I mean, because everybody has things happen, but that doesn't make them a murderer, serial killer, or any of those things. Yeah, her energy is freaky. Yeah, Ed Kempner, same thing. I did a reading on him too, actually, and it was the same thing. Like, he knew there was something wrong. He just chose to keep doing it. I think he wore women's clothes too, if I remember right. Sorry, my chat dropped out here, so I'm gonna have to look at my phone. Oh yeah, something with his mother, because he killed his mother or something like that, right, TC? But it was something that he was taking it out on these other women because he didn't like his mother or something like that. I don't remember. I don't know. I did a reading on it months and months and months ago, so I did look into the case, but I just done a lot since then, so I don't really remember. But yeah, I do remember him killing his mother, or wanting to. If he would have just killed his mother, the other people wouldn't have been killed or something like that. But for whatever reason, he kept going. I don't remember if the mother was ever killed at all or if she was killed first or last, and then he kept going. I'm not sure. But I do know the mother was the main focus of why he said that if he would have done whatever it was that he felt he needed to do with her or not do, then he wouldn't have killed other people. So that was something that he did bring up. So that is a good point, TT. Yes, and she did have choices. So, and that's what I'm saying. It's like there's just a certain point where it's like your own mental health becomes your own responsibility. So like when you start to feel not right, then that's the time when you would want to kind of go ahead and say, okay, I don't feel right. Something might, you know what I mean? So that's when you would go look for help. But I mean, obviously with her background, I don't see her doing it. Like you said, if her mother didn't do it, I mean, I don't know. It's just every individual is different, I guess. Hi, Emily. And bye, Donna. You have a good night as well. Oh yeah, Dahmer said that too. Dahmer said that he wanted to, he was relieved once he got locked up, Christine, because he didn't want to be doing. He even said that he didn't want to do it. It's he didn't know what else to do. He just didn't want them to leave, and the only way that he knew to keep them from leaving was to kill them. That's why he would embalm them and keep their bodies and keep body parts and things like that, because it was always a way to keep them with him. They even said how his became a racial case and stuff. And he even said later he didn't have any racial issues with anybody. He actually was attracted to those men. So that's I'm not saying that makes it right, but the thing is he wasn't killing them for their race. He was killing them because he was in love and attracted to them, and he didn't want their energy or them to ever leave him. So he felt that if he ate them or kept parts of them, that they would always have to be part of him. So yeah, he admitted that if he didn't get put up in jail, that he wanted to be put in jail too at some point. It was a point when are they going to stop? And I think BTK kind of did too. I mean, even though he said it was an accident with the whole computer thing, you had to know. I think he even asked the cops if it would get traced back to him. So that's what I'm saying. He had to know it was going to get traced back to him. I don't believe. And then Ed Gein too, yeah. Like I said, I've done a lot of those. Like I said, even Ed Gein. Ed Gein's nuts. Like I said, he's one of the few ones too who's not sorry. His energy isn't too disturbing, but he's not sorry. Yeah, I agree. I think serial killers like the chase and the game. Lisa, that's the point. It's a game to them. They know eventually they'll get caught and it's going to end. The game always ends. But I think the point is how long can they get away with it for? I think is the biggest thing. Like you said. Oh, you're up at 2 a.m.? Yeah, so I was I'm about to sign out and go to bed probably soon. I'm tired. Yeah, and just like BTK, he wanted to be recognized. That's why he made a whole Zodiac, the Zodiac Killer. All of them people, like I said, they liked having nicknames. They liked having, being called what they were, and yeah, exactly. Play till you get caught. Kind of like Monopoly, so you get thrown in jail. You know what I mean? They know they're gonna get caught eventually, but it's just like I said, a lot of them. Like I said, even when I did Jack the Ripper stuff, I think he died on accident. I think he got sick or something happened to him. But I know when I did his reading, he pretty much made it sound like if he could have kept killing people, he would have done it. But for whatever reason, I don't think he was put in jail for anything. I think he got sick and passed away, or something happened and he passed away, like a quick accident. But either way, he didn't regret what he did still. Neither does Ted Bundy. Like I said, the only thing, like I said, it's a game to them. They like it. Oh, there was not enough. I don't think there was enough of any type of proof of anything during the time with Jack the Ripper, to be honest. I mean, they had whistles to blow to call the other cops to come in that direction. So there was very little, help in that sense. And I do think it was somebody who was famous. I mean, not famous, but of the higher elite. So I don't think it's somebody, even if they would have caught him, they wouldn't have thought anything. They would never have thought it was him anyways, is what I'm saying. Like they would have just thought he'd have been happened to walk by or something. They would never have thought it was him. Like I think he was somehow connected to the royal houses. I don't know if he did something for them, an accountant, a doctor. I don't know what, I think he was a doctor of some sort, or at least going to school to be one. But I think he also had some other connections to the royalty. So that's what I'm saying. Even if I don't think anybody ever, even if he, like I said, would have been standing there, happened to be walking down the edge of the, the end of the street, and they caught him and he turned around, they would have happened in that time, be like, oh, he just happened to be walking down the street, because they would have thought he was a great guy. So I think that's why Jack the Ripper got away. No way, Rosie, really? I didn't realize he did the hitchhiking thing that much. That's nuts. That's lucky for them. That was a close call. Well, I'll probably get ready to sign out in a minute, just because, again, my internet has dropped on here, so I do have to follow the chat on my phone. It's kind of a little bit hard to do that. So, and still look at the computer at the same time. Yeah, Lisa, that's true. I remember that. They, whoever it was, they said that when they picked him on the dating show, that right away she got a bad vibe from him, and that she wouldn't go on the date with him after that. So I saw that too. I saw where she gave that interview and said that after the show, that when she talked to him behind, like, the scenes behind stage, that he gave off a very creepy, and like she was scared of him, so she didn't go on the date with him. Well, it's like they're a sociopath. They're like, and they're not, so they know how. That's why he did all the psych stuff and the law and stuff, how to fit in and work in society the way they did, because they were able to blend in well by pretending that they had feelings, and pretending like, even if they had them, or I said they didn't have feelings, but they knew how to pretend like they did, because they watched. And that's usually why narcissists are attached to people who are empathic or have a lot of emotions, because they don't have any. So they usually attach themselves to somebody who does, so that they can pretend as if they have emotions, but most of the time they don't have any. Yeah, I don't remember what it was that he said, but I do remember her saying that she talked to him after stage, and that and she felt a very off vibe from him, and it made her uncomfortable, and so she didn't go. Yes, I'm about to get off soon. Like I said, just because they said the chat has dropped over here, so it's a little bit harder to follow it on my phone, and then I can't really look at the computer. Yeah. I don't think sometimes you always will find I don't think everybody's going to always be found, unfortunately. Oh yeah, there was are you talking about that really old Ted Bundy movie that was like in the set like 80s or something, like early 90s? Yeah, that one that was creepy. If he really did do stuff like that, that was scary. If he really did freak out, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that was just the guy putting his own spin on the character, but that was creepy, that movie. And yeah, I agree with Christine. You always trust your gut. So if you meet somebody and something feels off for whatever reason, you don't feel like you should do it or go with it. You just trust your gut and just do what it tells you. That's usually your spirit guides nudging you, telling you not to do something. Yeah, I mean, we can look at some, but the thing is, the Jane Doe readings are kind of hard, because we'd still have to kind of know a little bit more about it. It can't be too random. It has to almost kind of have some names attached. So we could find like a classic Jane Doe one or something that everybody knows about. But like I said, most of them kind of tie in like how Jack the Ripper, those. I mean, we all know who they were now, but nobody knows who Jack the Ripper is. So, and if it's not called a Jack Doe, I don't know what it would be called. Jack the Ripper. So. That's actually the reading I'm getting ready to do, Rosie. That's the one I was pissed off. Well, I'm sorry. That's the one I was upset about last night. I had the whole thing written down. So I'm doing it actually tonight, or try to have it up tonight or tomorrow. But yeah. That's why I want to find that book, because it has it all in it. So it's actually kind of ironic that you mentioned that, because that's why I was upset yesterday when I lost the book, because I had 3 pages worth of stuff written on that case that I was ready to read. And I had it set up and everything. And once I went to go get the book and start recording, the book was gone. I know that everybody talks about the Cecil Hotel. I know everybody keeps talking about that hotel. That's the only thing I know about any hotel, is there's a hotel that's Cecil. No, I haven't heard that part about the guy who sits in the hotel. Yeah, I was like, I know Cecil. I think it's called Cecil Hotel. There's supposed to be a lot of things that have happened there, and I know the Black Dahlia was one of the ones that people had mentioned. Huh. No, I'd have to look it up. Or, yeah, I've never heard of that one, TT. Yeah, it's a Cecil Hotel, probably. Right, Rosie? Especially when you just said that about that case. I'm like, dude, I had that whole case set up last night. That was supposed to be the case we were going to do today. That's why I was upset about it. So I have it rewritten down, but not completely the way I wanted it. So I'm rewriting it again. But yeah, that was supposed to come out today. So that's kind of ironic that you said that. And that's why I was like, I've been looking for that book, because that's what the whole case is in that book. Like I said, again, I don't need all the facts I wrote, but I had got into that case and I wrote down a bunch of stuff about it. So the fact that I was going to do it last night, the book came up missing, and you just mentioned it. I'm like, now I need to go look for that book again. Or is there something in it that isn't supposed to come out? I don't know. It's very interesting now that you kind of said it. All right. I'll write that down, TT, and look at it. Okay. Okay, hotel president. All right. So I will look into those. And then, Rosie, if I find that book, that is obviously going to be the next one. If not, I'm rewriting it tonight, actually. He did. Jack the Ripper had huge mommy issues. Jack the Ripper actually killed all the women because he was pissed at his mom. I think his mom was like a prostitute or something like that, and that's why he chose prostitutes, or at least he felt that his mom behaved like a prostitute. I don't know if she was or wasn't, but yeah, I think that was the thing with Jack the Ripper. That's why he chose the women he did, because he didn't feel that they stood up to society's standards. But yeah, I'm gonna look for that book though, Rosie, and I'll get started on that again. Like I said, if I can't find it tonight, like I said, I've already rewrote it. I just want to rewrite it down in a quicker like rundown of the facts and a time frame because it did go on for, well, it's been 2 years now, or 3, I think. So I'm gonna look at that. I'll look at those 2 cases, TT and Rosie again. Like I said, I just need to find the book, Rosie, and then I can get it started. And then as far as like I said, Skylar, like I said, I already started that one. I just need to find the darn book, and I can go ahead and record it. Like I said, but if not, then I said I already have it rewritten down, just not in the format that I would like it written down to start it. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll look into it. I'll see what I can find about it. There's some cases I can't really find much about, and I don't connect to them. So it's not that I don't want to do them. I just can't connect to everybody. So it'll depend on if that person connects with me or not. But I'll try my best to see if I can get any connection. My tarot classes they're on my Patreon. And then if you sign up through here to do them with the pendulum, you'll get both. Like I said, because they're $10 for each class. But on here, you get the pendulum and the tarot for $20, and then the pendulum itself is just $10. And then if you do the tarot on the Patreon, it's just $10. And so I don't know. Some people do 10 on here, and then they turn green, and then some people do the 10 on Patreon. So it's still the same amount. You're still paying $20 for both the pendulum and the tarot class if you want both. But if you only want pendulum, you can do just the pendulum on here. But if you do the tarot, you'll get the pendulum class on here and the tarot class on Patreon. So you'll still get access to both sites. So it's actually kind of better because you have access to the classes here, and you have access to any classes there, which might have information that might have been left out from a class on here or something. Or something that somebody else thought of that they brought up that you might be curious about yourself. So, but yeah, whenever you get a chance, like I said, it's all in my about section, so you can just check it out, see if you're interested in it. Like I said, but if you do the 21 on or the 20 on here a month, you get both classes. Like I said, and access to both sites. If you do the 10 on here for the pendulum, you get just the pendulum on here. But if, like I said, if you do the tarot and on here, you get the tarot and the pendulum. So you'll get access to Patreon and here. So that's how that works. So yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Yeah. Well, the pendulum class comes through here, Lisa. So whenever we have our pendulum class, you won't go to Patreon. You'll come here. It'll be just like a live. It's set up like a private unlisted chat. So it's for pendulum class only members. So only members can see it. So like you, since you're a pendulum member, only you can see it. And then you have the $10 on Patreon. So like I said, you're still doing the 20, but you just have access to both sites. So yeah, but that's how it kind of works for that. It's easier for me because with the classes to conduct them on Patreon. That's good. I'm glad you got to do that. And you're welcome, Sam. I am. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to sign out because I'm kind of tired. Yeah, you click. Well, I think you click on the Patreon link, and it takes you to the site, and then it shows you like it'll say metaphysical classes, and it's $10 a month, and then it'll tell you like what it's about, like you know what you learn in it, what the class all entails, and it's $10 a month on the Patreon site. So yeah, you would just click the Patreon link, and it'll take you there. You know, I never was able to guess the sex of my children at all. Not even like intuitionally or with pendulums. Other people I could. Not mine, though. I always got it wrong. Always. I don't think they would be, Lisa. You're welcome, and good night, TT. And then I'm glad you got to talk to them. And like I said, I'm sure I don't see why they would be disappointed. And like I said, you're their baby, so Oh, no, you're fine. Don't worry about that. The only reason I haven't been doing lives as much right now is because of the classes. But once we kind of get a break again, I'll start doing a little bit more of the lives again. But right now, it's just with the classes I'm trying to make them where they're close, like on the weekends right now, and then kind of free up the week for cases and lives. But it's just I do 3 classes a week or 4 classes a week. So that's the only reason I haven't been on as much. Yeah, I got the circles, but mine were both boys. So that's what I'm saying, like, it didn't work for me. So I don't know. I tried. I mean, it worked for other people I did it on, but it never worked on me. So I don't know. That's why I can't read myself. I said, I even recently had somebody, I was like, hey, can you read for me? Because I just can't. So it's too much of an attachment, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe for me, it's why. I don't know. So I was really invested in the thought of it. All right, you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and sign out because it is getting kind of late and I'm tired. So I'm going to look for that book, though, Rosie. Hopefully I'll find it. If not, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. And I'll record that tonight or tomorrow. And then we can go ahead and go over that case. And you're welcome, Lynn. You have a good one. And you have a good one, too, Lisa. And Amber. Sam, I am. Rosie. TT. Anybody else in the room who's still here, thank you for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, my phone is not working, so the chat has stopped over here. But y'all have a good night. Like I said, I'm going to look for that book. Hopefully I'll find it. If not, then I will go ahead and rewrite it and have that out for us soon, Rosie. So, I love each and every one of you. Love and light to all of you. And, blessed be to each and every one of you as well. Like I said, y'all sleep. I hope y'all sleep well and have a good night. And I will talk to you tomorrow. So y'all take care. Love and light. Bye.